Imagine falling for someone you've never met, feeling a connection so deep you'd do anything for them. Now, imagine finding out they aren't who they say they are, and your love story was just a scam. It sounds like a movie plot, but it's a devastating reality for thousands. In 2023 alone, the Federal Trade Commission received over 64,000 reports of romance scams, with victims in the U.S. losing a jaw-dropping $1.14 billion. This is a story of one woman who lost $300,000 to a man she loved but never met. Let's call her Sarah. She's a 45-year-old from Ohio, and after a tough divorce, she did what so many of us do. She looked for a connection online. She hoped to find a partner, a companion, someone to share her life with. What she found instead was a nightmare that cost her everything, emotionally and financially. Sarah's story is a hard lesson in trust, deception, and the very real dangers of looking for love online. Feeling lonely, Sarah created a profile on a popular dating site. She was optimistic, even a little excited. A few days later, a message popped up from a man named David. He was charming, thoughtful, and seemed to hang on her every word. They clicked almost instantly, sharing life stories and talking about their dreams for the future. As they talked more and more, Sarah felt something she hadn't felt in years. David told her he was a successful businessman working on a project overseas, which only made him seem more intriguing. He sent photos, and they had long video calls where he'd tell her he loved her. Sarah was completely smitten. She truly believed she had found her soulmate. But as the weeks went by, little things started to feel off. David always had an excuse for why they couldn't meet in person. He was tied up with work, he said, and couldn't get back to the States just yet. Blinded by what she thought was love, Sarah pushed her worries aside. She trusted him, and their connection felt too real to be fake. Then, things took a sharp turn. David started asking for money. He spun a story about a business deal that had gone bad, leaving him in a financial jam. He said he just needed $10,000 to cover some unexpected costs and swore he'd pay her back as soon as he could. Sarah hesitated, but in the end, she sent the money, wanting to help the man she loved through what she believed was just a temporary problem. That first request was just the beginning. As weeks turned into months, David's pleas for money grew more frequent, and the amounts got bigger. He needed cash for travel problems, sudden medical emergencies, and even too good to be true investment opportunities. Each time Sarah wavered, he'd shower her with affection and promises of their future together, making her feel guilty for even thinking of saying no. Before she realized what was happening, Sarah had sent David a staggering $300,000. She emptied her savings account, took out personal loans, and ran up her credit cards to their limits. With every transfer, David would thank her profusely and promise he was one step closer to coming home. Sarah held on to that promise, convinced her love was worth the sacrifice. The fantasy shattered with a phone call from her bank. They were calling to inform her that her accounts were practically empty and her credit was destroyed. A wave of panic washed over her as the scale of her financial ruin hit her. She frantically tried to call David, to text him, to email him, but he was gone. No replies, no calls, just silence. As days of silence turned into weeks, a sickening truth began to set in. The photos were likely stolen. The stories were lies, and the man she loved never existed. He was a scammer. She had been a victim of an elaborate, cruel romance scam. The financial loss was devastating, but the feeling of betrayal was so much worse. She felt foolish, humiliated, and completely alone. Desperate, Sarah started searching online and found she wasn't alone. She discovered forums and support groups filled with thousands of people who had been tricked by similar scams. Reading their stories and sharing her own was a painful but vital first step toward healing. Sarah also reported the crime to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3, and her local police. She knew the chances of getting her money back were slim, but she hoped that by speaking up, she could stop someone else from going through the same heartbreak. We spoke with Dr. Emily Johnson, a psychologist who specializes in online relationships, to understand how this happens. She explained that scammers are masters of manipulation. Scammers are skilled at building trust and exploiting vulnerabilities, she said. Victims are often looking for a real connection, and that emotional investment can make them overlook major red flags. Dr. Johnson says to watch out for these warning signs. Their story is full of holes. If their background or daily life seems inconsistent, pay attention. They ask for money. This is the biggest red flag. Be extremely cautious if someone you only know online asks for financial help, especially if they create a sense of urgency. They refuse to meet. If they always have an excuse to avoid a video call or meeting in person, something is wrong. It feels too good to be true. Over-the-top affection and constant flattery can be a tactic to make you lower your guard. The emotional toll on Sarah was immense. She was overwhelmed with shame and guilt, constantly questioning how she could have been so deceived. It took therapy and the unwavering support of friends and family for her to even begin to heal and learn to trust again. Through this nightmare, Sarah learned some hard lessons about vulnerability and self-preservation. She's now an advocate for scam awareness, sharing her story to help others spot the warning signs. I want people to know that it's okay to want love, she said, but you have to protect your heart and your wallet. Sarah's story is a single, heartbreaking example of a massive and growing problem. As mentioned, the FTC reports that romance scams cost Americans over $1.14 billion in 2023 alone. These criminals are constantly refining their tactics, making it more important than ever to be careful. Experts urge anyone using dating apps or social media to take simple precautions. Do a reverse image search on their profile pictures. Be wary of sharing too much personal information. And most importantly, talk to a trusted friend or family member before ever considering sending money to someone you haven't met. Sarah's story is a tough one to hear, but it's an important one. If it resonated with you, please subscribe to our channel for more content on how to stay safe online. And share your own experiences in the comments. You never know who your story might help. Sarah's journey is a powerful reminder that while technology can bring us together, also creates opportunities for deception. By staying informed, being cautious, and learning to spot the red flags, we can protect ourselves and the people we care about from this devastating type of fraud. Always remember, real love shouldn't come with a price tag. Trust your instincts, stay safe, and thank you for watching.